Hey everybody, how you doing? We're gonna play some Lord of the Rings full session 4, I believe, is what we're ready for now. Um, Ulysses, welcome back to the game.
Absolutely.
It got a little wild without you. I think I think you said you watched the
I
stream
watched
back and saw.
I watched it. I actually had some serious sense of misgiving that I was not in that combat, given that my character as a captain is all about helping the party in in combat.
We
Yes.
were fine. We were fine.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
they did all
Yeah, we
right.
did. We did pretty good.
Yeah,
You were
yeah,
just in the bathroom, and then you came out, and you're like, "Hey guys, what happened?"
yeah.
I did pretty well without a character sheet, but I have one now. So I had it at the
Hey,
studio. Sure enough, here it is at the studio. So I can actually shoot things poorly with a bow or hit them with the staff poorly, or I can find another cart to
that's
have
right.
more
I
fun.
think we were pretty happy
I
with
feel
the
like it worked way better than it
yeah,
would have.
I think it worked out to your benefit. Hmm. Yeah. What a interesting session you guys had, in my opinion, last time. Just you guys were started out kind of doing the introduction phase of a council, and then someone took the liberty of calling you out in the middle of it. Your council was going fine-ish, but not well enough for some present, and so you were called out.
all three of them failed rules,
Yes, yes, there
It
was a
was
one
little.
just
after
yeah, it
the
was
other.
like middling rolls too. It wasn't even awful. It was just kind of like, oh, I can't give you this or that or that. It was just bleh.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
But I felt like I was doing great talking, but it was just.
Yeah, and I think honestly, Brian, you all were doing great as far as all that goes, and but especially like that's why you didn't fail completely is because
Yeah,
your presentation as a player kind of helped soften the landing,
yeah.
so to speak. Um, and you had a hard crowd to deal with from the beginning. Um, of course, these ruffians called you out. They you met them in the street. Um, Garwin and Crithale kind of said you don't want to mess with us. If you do, you're gonna get your butt whipped. And they decided that yes, indeed, they did want to mess with you, and the result was that they somewhat got their hindquarters lashed. Um, at the end of the fight, you were able to deduce that the leader of the ruffians was someone that has some manner of Numenorian blood in them, Numenorian descent, and so is almost certainly not from Harad or from this area necessarily, and is probably from the coast, like Umbar, um, which kind of presents. Yes, I think you brought it up, Ulysses, earlier, but it kind of presents that you that not that the terms of travel that you guys have been working under are not going to be upheld by every member of the Umbar Corsair Nation. So the roads are probably a little bit more dangerous than what you had anticipated, and you probably did the right thing by avoiding them for the most part, unless you want to fight individuals, in which case the roads are a great option. Um, the session last week ended with you seeing Sire Grath kind of in a much more tired, worn out, ragged state go back in, you know, drop into his chair by the hearth. You all stepped back in to meet with him, and this time the townsfolk quietly closed the door behind you, allowing you to have a private, earnest conversation with Sire Grath. Am I missing anything, fellas?
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right? Cool. Yes, yes. And as Craig said, you guys are definitely diplomats, and that showed out fully last week. It really was a diplomatic session, if nothing more.
Oh,
Yeah. Um, so we have character sheets this time. We have built some character sheets. We have Ulysses back. We're ready for a fight, and so let's have a chat by a fire instead for a while. Um,
Hey.
yes. So let's talk about consequences though from your roles last time. We're getting back into a council. Um, so, what we're going to do for a plethora of reasons, basically, the introduction allows you to basically potentially get a reroll on an ability check, or if you fail horribly, to have disadvantage. We're going to say that because you didn't horrifically fail across everything, and because you kind of handled things well up there, you're not going to take the disadvantage, which you definitely would have gotten before, and you're just going to kind of be on your own, lonesome here. Um, so the introductions have been made, and I think that you guys talked a little bit about what you were hoping to get out of this engagement. I think one of the big things that you talked about getting out was that the potential of offering opportunities for men from this place to come back to Gondor and, have an opportunity for a better life, a better existence, or at least more opportunities for that.
In
And kind
exchange
of,
for military service.
yeah, yeah.
So, may I, having watched last session, I thought that the fellowship did a great job, kind of setting the stage of what to ask for. But I would say that as Samarian would reflect on what we've experienced to date, and especially all the data points of being here, from the ruffians to, if you remember, when we first came into the tavern, there was a table of Paradum, who I tried to, be polite to, and they kind of rebuffed the politeness of it. And I would say that I'm getting a strong sense that it is way too long since Gondor exerted influence in these lands. And if our mission as servants of Ecthelion is to try to negotiate peace with Umbar, maybe it's a broader mandate, and maybe it's kind of a balance of power play that we really want to try to get as many of these quasi principalities and different kingdoms to be as neutral or on our side as possible. And I think that going to Abracon and seeing what is there and having Sire Graf, who probably understands Abracon better than anyone we've met to date, help us and give us guidance and insight into how we could best parlay once we got to Abracon would be an additional goal I'd add to the mix.
So basically, it sounds like to me, and I think maybe there was another thing that I'm forgetting from last session, but it sounds like to me potential of recruitment, potential of Cygraph taking on the role of an advisor of some sort to you if you choose to go to Abracon. Is there something that I'm missing from the last session that you guys were hoping? Yeah, Andrew.
And I think one thing that came up a couple of times, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was Zachariah who first brought up the idea of and it was semi sort of feeling them out rather than being strong about it. The idea of stationing 100, Gondorian men here, and if you recall, as we finished, stabbing chickens and all that thing, Krithel fairly loudly and purposely said, 100 men here, but only if we need them. So there is sort of that the idea is very much planted in people's heads. I think that is something that is that is something that we could lean into. Again, Crithiel is not a negotiator, and probably after that whole combat, when especially when Marion comes back into the mix, Crithiel will probably walk over and say, "Should I not have talked about the orchards?"
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and say that Zachariah was throwing that out purely in jest, in terms of, they were respecting us because we only came as 4 people. That because we came in peace, that we weren't trying to assert dominance, we weren't coming with a legion, we weren't doing that, and so that was I'm surprised you just came, the 4 of you. Well, if you'd rather, we could bring 100 men, but it was purely in jest and just tipping my hand. Zachariah feels that they have set us up for this is perhaps saying too much, but Zachariah feels that the powers that be have set us up for failure in this mission, that they're planning a military strike regardless, and they just want us to give cover that we tried. And Zachariah doesn't want to be useless and doesn't see a need in all of this. So Zachariah is absolutely fine with a bit of wheeling and dealing and not at all interested in asserting Gondorian dominance in this area, because it's an impossible task to do so, and he's smart enough to know that. So he's totally up for proposing limited autonomy and recruiting men from there to here, to negotiate for men to take us to Abrakan, rather than using our negotiating power to try and bring these into the fold. If he can negotiate with a bunch of petty rulers to get them to be watchful and neutral or benevolent toward the separate city of Gondor, the kingdom of Gondor, then he is up for that, even if that goes against the mandate. So that is where Zachariah is. And so 100 men was in jest, and I don't think that it could be done.
Well, it was in jest, but I think that circumstances have turned to where what was originally said in jest, in order to make us seem more neutral, it has now turned out that, hey, maybe these people actually are in need of protection. So that maybe what we said originally and didn't mean, because we didn't think it was the right thing, has turned out to be potentially a thing that we can exploit.
Wait, and don't forget, Cruthiel, don't forget, when we first got here, we were told by the guy in the tower that men from Selentir had been in Harmondin immediately before us, that they were surveyors, men of opportunity, schemers in the best possible way. Their line of inquiry was similar to ours, and they were looking to put a garrison from Selentir in Harmondin. So whether it originated in boast, jest, feint, what have you, us thinking about Gondorians garrisoned here, I think fits in the fact that this is a chess piece in play. But go ahead.
Sorry, why don't we ask her? I would imagine that perhaps our host, and this could be one of our asks in our council, I believe our host may not be entirely ignorant to what these people wanted and were doing here. Mm-hmm. Perhaps can fill us in on their true intentions, and perhaps that should be the first course of action before we propose what we want, to find out what they wanted.
I feel like our host likes us, and personally likes us, and is going to come in a bit apologetic and tell us what actually is going on, regardless. And if not, then we ask, of course, why did people beat us up in the street, and how did you know who they were, and what's going on? But in terms of us being able to play our hand. Our hand is not strong enough to put 100 men outside. Gondor has way more stuff to care about than putting 100 men in Harinden. Yeah, nobody cares about Harinden enough, and we can't spread ourselves that thin, in my humble opinion.
Zachariah,
yes.
One last thing before we engage with Sire Grath again. As I think about our mission, if we had gone directly by land to Umbar,
if we had gone directly, yes,
all we would have done, or all we'd have of value, is being representatives of Ecthelion and trying to bargain and negotiate a peace. But I actually think in going the route we've gone, we're doing something I don't think anyone from Gondor or any other area in the West has done recently. Is we're going to all these places. We are accumulating intelligence that is going to be vastly valuable to the leader of Umbar. To tell the leadership there what the lay of the land is will give us, I think, a much more sympathetic audience because we're bringing more value to the table.
Also, it feels very much like a Magnificent Seven scenario here, where they didn't seem too happy to see these people. They fought alongside us, so that to me is saying that these people are also not people that they want around, and so potentially we are making more friends than enemies by helping out this town. And I think that's going to help us if they want to have support or want to support us. I think that'll go a long way. At least just by the descriptions and the things that happen, that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. So as you get into this, I want to get the mechanic side of this out of the way before we dive into the actual interaction. So there's two things that are required for me to set before you dive in. One of the things is to gauge the viability of your requests and to set the number of successes based off that. If it is a reasonable request, then only one success in the coming engagement is required. This is a reasonable request is one where the encountered folk do not lose anything by helping the player heroes, or the company is offering something in return of approximately equal import. I'm going to say that one is not on the table whatsoever. We'll cover some of this in a minute. A bold request is 2 successes required, corresponds to a goal that is profiting the company more than it does the people encountered. I'm also going to set that one aside for the moment. And an outrageous request requires 3 successes, happens when the player heroes are asking the encountered folk to do something that is dangerous or has scarce or no possibilities for reward. I'm going to choose that one, and I think as we play out, you'll see why. But just know that there'll be a 3 success threshold. The second thing that I have to determine is what is the inclination of the person that you're engaging with. If they are reluctant, um, like someone that has a level of prejudice, as an example, then the DC for each check would be 20. If they're open, the DC would be 15, and if they're friendly, the DC would be 10. I think this guy is actually, honestly, somewhere between open and friendly at the moment. So we're going to set the DC for your checks at 12 when they come up in here. So I think that he's definitely, again, probably reveal a little bit as we get into it, but I think that he leans toward friendly, but he's not at the point where he is your best friend. So just slightly off that. So you'll have to make 3 checks, but they will be not super difficult ones. Okay. So let's set this scene back again now that we've got the mechanics out of the way. And you guys kind of know what the level of request is. Yes. Exactly, Brian. His inclination is probably somewhere between 15 and 25 degrees with his slouch. He is slouched in his chair. He is, as you guys kind of come back into the place, settled back down, he says, I'm sorry you had to spill blood today. That probably was unavoidable at some point, but I know that's not the sort of welcome you were hoping for.
And whose blood did we spill? You seemed to. It didn't seem to catch you off guard that they were at the door.
Yeah. Today, I think someone from the coast, or at least one of them was. I think he points to Samarian here, and he says, "I think you had an interaction with people from the east and the south." He says, "It might be one of them tomorrow. It might be one of our own. It just so happened that today, you know, man of the coast took a disliking to you."
What do you think, Sargraph? By the way, Sargraph, would you like to have some of that tea from the Anduin Delta that seemed to remind you of times past?
You know what? I would. Let's.
Let's. So I'm going to ask whatever serving person's still left in the bar
Yeah.
to bring hot water and a tea set, and we'll steep.
It's just the one gal now. She'll definitely do that. This is exactly what she's here for. She's probably like 12 to 14, young enough to where she doesn't have a family of her own or a job or anything like that necessarily, except to be here and kind of assist in the courtesy of guests. So definitely she'll be gone a moment. She brings hot water back from somewhere else, and we'll start steeping.
What do the men from the coast seek here in Harmondon, Sargraph?
I think they. May I speak plainly, my lords and lady? He says, we are. We are. We've always been an outpost, always been on the fringe of the White City's view. And that's by necessity, and there's no way of changing that. We're far enough out. But I think that as the White City has turned its attention elsewhere by necessity, and it's been a long time since the White City has sought to expand south or to give long gazes this direction. And as the gaze has been drifted elsewhere, I think our neighbors have seen an opportunity to acquire some land. And I think that we are perhaps um, we're perhaps going to be an easy acquisition once someone works up a bit more gumption, a little bit more of a nerve. We've been playing off as a neutral ground, or as at least a friendly ground, for a long time, and that kind of keeps things from kiltering one way or another. It's hard for Harad to make a move against us when we're friendly with Umbar, and likewise, and Gondor's the same, and there's something of a balance there. And if Harad were to take command, then who's to say but that the men of the coast might take offense to that, or have their own agenda that they decide to enact. I think everybody's just kind of been eyeing us for a long time, like the last scrap of meat on a bone. Or maybe we're just the first bite of meat on the bone. That's probably the better way. Who's going to take the first bite of this southern flank? Um, I think that's what we're facing now, and I think that's what you're seeing here. And I don't know that there's a solution here that's going to be fully satisfactory for you, for me, for anyone. I think most will be disappointed.
If you were to, I don't know that your land needs to be ruled. It certainly hasn't been from our end for many years, and it doesn't seem like it needs to be, um, nor that it's worth the investment from Harad, from Unbar, from the White City. I'm just stating the plain facts. But if it were to be ruled by someone, who would you prefer it to be your lord, and who do you think your people would cleave to?
I I appreciate your faith in me and my people, assuming that we don't need a ruler. And perhaps you're right in that. But I think that that is going to be unavoidable. We are a land in between two nations, three nations who are at odds. It's unlikely that we will remain removed. Um, as for your questions, for myself, I look fondly to the White City and to the North in general. I would see us. I like the thought that even this far south, in South Gondor, we are still Gondorians. But I think that's lost a lot of meaning to the people that I look over. But I don't know that there's anyone that has really taken, or if there is someone that's taken their vision, it's this person's taken by this nation and this person by another. I think that's what you witness some of here today, that the people are, where it's rare that we're united. I know that you saw some of our people helping you today, but I think I would be loath to say that all of the men that you, well, that fell today are all from the coast. Thankfully, none from the town proper, but I would not be surprised to hear that some farmer, hermit, or forester from just a mile up the road was part of that gang.
So if you, I have to be as honest as I can be. This is far removed from Gondor, and it's not the most strategic outpost. If it were, then the stewards of yesteryear would have exerted their influence instead of leaving it be. But if you feel that it would be helpful for Gondor to aid here, if you feel that my jest of 100 men sent to your outpost, we've seen the tower, if you feel that it would be helpful for us to exert some influence and of course gain a nice crossroads for trade in the taking, what do you think you would do for us if we were to make that happen? Yes, I'm asking him what he'll do to pay us for invading him, but it shifts the dialogue there. Or do you just not think it's worth the effort?
He says, if you could send 100 men, I think it would buy us some more weeks, perhaps months, perhaps a year. I don't think it would stave off someone eager. And I think that we have several people that are eager, several factions that are eager at the moment. So I I am loath to encourage more more knights to come down here and spill their own blood, just so we can tend to our crops for a few weeks longer. I don't know what the right course of the action is, to let it ride, to accept the fate that we will not
There's
be.
an
Go ahead.
respectfully, Sire Graf, there's an alternate route. Rather than incur the cost and rancor brought about by sending a garrison of 100 soldiers here, perhaps the four of us, maybe with an emissary of yours, should travel south. That we should go to Abercon, where the Golden King sits upon his throne,
Mm.
and present ourselves as what we are, the emissaries of Ecthelion. And perhaps that very assertion of ambassadorial prerogative will keep in check somewhat longer the ambitions and aspirations of Hadar.
Give me a persuasion roll as you toss this out. This is the first of 3 rolls, so persuasion roll.
Okay.
Um,
One moment to
I'm
get
going
my advanced die roller up.
I'm going to give because you guys have been doing this very well so far. I'm going to give you advantage on this ability check. By the way, for folks listening at home, if you the book is very clear in saying if the party is doing effective role playing during this interaction, um, grant grant the hero that's rolling advantage. So that's definitely what we're doing here.
There's the first roll, and there's the second roll.
All right, so you needed that advantage for sure.
Yes.
Keep in mind that that this isn't a you need 3 successes before you get 3 failures. The rules here are somewhat not fully fleshed, but the truth of it is, as it's made plain, is that a failure is a failure. So this is a big deal every time you roll, but absolutely. So he kind of Saragrath kind of looks up at you, and you see him kind of chew on that for a moment. Maybe he takes a step from his tea, and he says, "That is good." Um, he says, "Abercon isn't going to. Well," he says, "I think that knowing that you come through here and that you come in goodwill will do you some manner of good if you're intent on traveling there. But I think you misjudge slightly the amount of authority or clout that I might have with the Golden King. Um, I can and will provide you a note, a writ that communicates, a letter that communicates to him or to whoever you might meet there that you have passed through my town and that you held yourself in good standing, um, and I will communicate and emphasize the safe passage granted to you by the lords of Umbar. I think all of that might go a long way, but you, my friends, are going to have much more sway, gain much more of an audience in that large city and that noble place than me in my own small bit of a throne here in town."
Graciously, we accept your offer of that letter. I see the wisdom of your suggestion, Sire Graf.
He
And of course, go alone but armed. Perhaps they will be impressed by our candor and our peaceful nature and our diplomacy, as you were, that we didn't come in force.
I think you're making the right call there.
But the roads are treacherous. If anyone would like to accompany us on our journey, even if they aren't there for the council.
You might pull a person or two. The my I think I would do well to warn you that the roads, yes, are treacherous for you, but the wilds from here, anywhere you venture from this place south or west or east, is going to be treacherous, and the roads will offer you speedier, quicker passage. So I hesitate to encourage you overly to avoid the roads, for perhaps you and being swift and as capable as you are with your swords, maybe haste is what you seek, and if haste is what you seek, then it might be that the road is your best friend. Um, but if you wish to avoid conflict and you are quiet and you are capable in the wilderness, then I do think that the Outlands may be your better choice. I will not make this choice for you. It is there's there's folly in either decision, and there's boons there as well. He says, but you did ask me what I would have. He said, and by the way, before we go any further, some two more people other than Silmarian are going to have to make checks before the end of this, and those checks are on engagement. So be thinking about when you want to insert yourself or whatever, and which you guys are doing a great job of. But that's I'll call on people that are not Silmarian for these next two checks. Um, but he says personally, I think that with the emissary that came through not long ago from Umbar, and now you coming here as well, you saw the men from Harad. They frequent here. Not the same ones all the time, of course, but the men from Harad frequenting here. The man you met in the street. I think that this is becoming something of a hornet's nest, and if I, as much as I kind of chaps me to say it, but I think that it's probably time that we uproot ourselves from this place and we make the journey north and try to put down those roots somewhere in a little less contested space. We're not warriors, and I don't think that it's appropriate to encourage women, children, families, old men. He kind of points at himself when he says that, old men, to insist on attempting to live a life on the front lines of a coming war.
Your people, as you say, this is a hornet's nest. And I will point out that there are fertile lands in Minas Tirith and the surrounding area. There are places for people to live. If your people would be interested in perhaps a safer, more policed area where we have fertile land, more opportunities. You've been eking out a living in this area, and I respect your care in living in such a brutal place. But if they'd like to join us out of this wilderness, we have jobs and land and walled cities, and we could relocate them. We could
Is this
bring them.
Is this a true offer? A true offer that you're extending, my lord? Is this does Gondor offer this in earnest that that there will be land and protection and work, livelihood to the north, or is this something that you're offering with the hopes of perhaps it might happen should someone else to the north look kindly upon us.
I've been only honest with you. On my honor, we have fought several multi-fronted battles. There are empty lands to be utilized. There are places for the men to join ranks with our soldiers. There are places for their families to live near our walls and to take shelter in emergencies, which is more than can be said with the men of Umbar and Harad coming toward this hornet's nest. I know there's space. I know that anyone able-bodied and willing to make a living in such a harsh environment here would be welcome as, despite the lag in time, a citizen of Gondor. Anyone who would be willing to join would be willing. We'd be happy to take them on the trip north.
I think this is a good opportunity to have you, Brian, make a persuasion roll with advantage.
With advantage, very cool. Let's see here. Like looking for my character, I'm like, where do I click? I have it on a paper like a caveman. Alrighty, /roll 2d. Oh no, it wouldn't be 2d. 1d20 plus 3. Okie doke. So there's first roll, not so great, and roll 1d20 plus 3.
Oh,
That's better.
Man, these advantages are saving your hide here.
The thing is, I actually have an ability that gives me advantage once per short rest, but you gave me advantage already. And
yes,
I'm like, oh, well,
yes,
let's take that one.
worked out.
But the rules of the game provide you granting us advantage if we role play well.
You know I don't like to give you advantage unless I absolutely am forced to, but the rules are very clear in this case. So and you guys are doing great. So yeah, so he says, well, I can't promise, and I shouldn't, that all will make the journey, but I think with what you've told me here, it will be difficult for people to leave, but I think it's for the best, and I think with a promise of, not being turned away at the door when we get to the north, I think people will be willing. I think that there's time, and I think that the banners of war are just over the horizon. Yes, I'm confident this is the right path.
We, as you know, we can't guarantee the safety of the roads any more than normal, but of course, this is your home area, and you probably have more safety in the traveling than we do. But what I can do is pull out my calligraphy supplies because I have those, and we can write you a letter of introduction with the diplomatic weight of Ecthelion behind it to our new friends that we've made in Pelargir, and they should be able to give you safe passage from there.
A letter for a letter. I can support this, and I think. What other bits of strategy might we peruse this evening, or are we done perusing? Is leaving these lands to go north, and you leaving these lands to go south, and that's that.
While that discussion is going on, and Zechariah is making the case, Crethael, who is not really either the talker or the strategist in terms of things, she kind of feels that her place is more of as a guardian, as a guide, but she will sort of go closer to Selmarian and kind of whisper kind of thoughts as this is going on about the situation. And she will say, is it truly wise for us to be venturing south? Every step south takes us away from our true destination. Would it not be more efficient and potentially just as profitable, not profitable, but useful for us to go downriver and sail towards, at least in the direction of Selentir and Umbar, and make way by land from there, rather than going in a direction that takes us farther and farther away to unknown dangers for unknown benefits and unknown reason. But that being said, if that is the course that you have chosen, I will remain. But another thought that I have had is that perhaps these people, they seem to be concerned to be torn in 3 ways by 3 nations. And perhaps the greatest offer we can make them is not to ally with them, but to create an alliance with one of the other 3 powers, which would then essentially place them in safety from 2 of 3 fronts, making the 3rd enemy impotent, for lack of a better term. So to position our success in our venture to seek peace with Umbar as a victory for them, for if we make a treaty with Umbar, then they would have nothing to fear from either us or Umbar.
Krithiel, I admire that suggestion. It makes me think what we may want to broker is a tripartite treaty, a peace and prosperity treaty among Gondor, Umbar, and Harad, in which we all agree to make Harmondin a permanently neutral site, and that we agree collectively to a non-aggression pact so that we may encourage trade among our peoples.
Are we talking about this in between, like with the dude that just said he was happy to send us all his people?
This is a
While
private
you are
conversation.
talking to the dude, Krithiel is talking kind of behind, because she doesn't really know what to say, and she's still concerned about the fact that she talked too much about the orchard and caused a fight, so she's not butting in anymore, especially...
I loved your memory of your mother's speeches and the bounty of the apples. I love it. Frick. But
hey, it's working because we just talked a bunch of people. We just talked the guy into sending a bunch of people to be farmers and soldiers in Gondor. So if you hadn't talked about the orchard, maybe they wouldn't go quite as much. But I'm not worried about non-aggression, this and that, if we're trying to empty out the town.
No, listen, I think you proposed something that resonated with Sire
Yeah,
but this is just a private conversation between Krithiel and Silmarion, and I just said it, to make sure that I punctuate your concern. I think going south is the strongest way we can go to Umbar. I think us having gone to Abercon will give us the stronger path to Umbar.
It's a long way across nothing.
Actually, left's red squares. So that's metagaming. Zach Francis, what's Garwin doing?
Garwin is kind of behind, standing, I imagine, listening to all of this. And I think he wants what is best for Gondor, but he also understands the importance of I don't want to say like independence, because I don't think that's the right word, but like I think he understands why people might be a little hesitant, or not wanting to just pick up and leave to just go to a kingdom that they are not really a part of yet. And I think he also wants what is best for this town, and I think he might also be listening to your private conversation, and I think he would be on the side of a peace treaty as well. I think that's what he would be like. Not that he doesn't want them to come to Gondor, because I think he does, because I think he knows that they would be safe there, and I think that's what is important to him. And I think that is still something that he would want to have happen. However, I think he also likes the idea of putting together that treaty of peace between Harad, Umbar, and Gondor, so that people don't just have to pick up and leave their homes, and they can stay where they are and still be in a safe place.
Alternatively, it would buy him more time to execute the relocation plan.
Exactly. So I think that's kind of where he's at right now. He doesn't want to speak out of turn. Again, the way that Garwin is that he is very much a stay within your rank type of person, and he doesn't feel that this is his place to really butt in and speak unless he is spoken to, because that's how he has been. And not because he doesn't want to talk, but he also knows the importance of listening. And he also knows that as a ranger, his place is to do as he's told. And so I think he's waiting for somebody to either open the floor to where he feels that he can speak, or to be spoken to directly. But he also is nodding his head a lot with what you guys are saying to him. He's probably giving off a lot of micro expressions of like, yes, this is great, this is what I believe in, this is what we want from you, like this is good, to show that he is one with the rest of the group as well.
Zach, given that neither Garvin nor Crithel really thematically are going to speak up, could Crithel perhaps contribute to this with an insight check on whether the argument of continued neutrality or the argument of stronger support is stronger than the others, and then perhaps one of our lead negotiators could wrap up based on the finding?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of different skills that you can put to use here, and insight is definitely one of them. So yeah, go for it. I like that.
All right.
And you can have advantage.
I will accept advantage.
Wow. Awesome. That's fantastic. So
that is not fantastic.
So Crithale rolled a 9 and a 10 total. So what we're going to see here is a so there's 3 levels of result for a council. The first one is success, one is disaster, and then the middle one is failure or success with woe. And I think that it is exactly that success with woe that happens here. I think that as you kind of read the tea leaves, maybe still floating in your cup.
That's why we brought the tea.
That's why you brought the tea. What you gain here is that, like, I think that what you read is that the top priority for this individual, this man, this sire, is to not have his people be in the way in between conflict. That is the absolute priority. And he is probably going to be most emphatic towards the solution that gives him a route away from that. So if you can make, if he feels confident, you get the read that like he's not confident that peace is going to come to this land or stay in this land for very long. And so he's happy to, or he's at least willing to move his people north. Um, is it his best case scenario? No, but I think you've given him a good option here, and he's recognizing it. So that said, so I think that kind of you guys have asked for the things. There's been an acknowledgement there. I think that what he would do is, as you kind of like start to bring together some of these conversations and whatnot, and kind of knowing where you guys stand, he would probably, and maybe it's happening while you guys are having your off to the side conversation, he would excuse himself for a moment, and he would go back into a back room. And when he comes out with a trunk, not a big one, but yay big, 18 inches or so, not deep. And he says, I suppose none of you really know what this might be, and he kind of rattles it a bit. Nothing rattles in it. It sounds empty, or like anything in it isn't solid. And he says, I won't make you guess. He sits down and he puts the box in his lap and he opens it up, and you see that it has this like light green, pale green fabric in it. And he says, I made the decision some years ago that we were going to stop flying flags in this town. I was, sometimes some flag isn't meant to mean anything, but it does, that sort of a thing. And I worried that, it would spurn ambition, somebody wanting to tear it down, pull it down. Anyhow, he pulls it out, and he looks around, and he sees you probably see the ranger, Zach Garwin, and he takes it out of the box and he kind of hands you this folded piece of fabric. It's old, it's well made, but it's old, made out of some rugged spun cloth. Nothing, no silk or anything there. And he says, if you intend to go south, nay, if you, wherever you choose to place yourself, what you can believe is that at the moment there are very few nations who fear or loathe Syagrath, my people. We are at the moment friendly for everyone, with everyone, and where we aren't going to hold a lot of sway in the lands that you're planning on frequenting. You moving under our banner may give people pause, if they're not already paused by your word and the dictation of the Corsair Lord.
I'm gonna take the flag, fold it up, and I'm gonna carefully kind of unveil it to see what it is.
Yeah, it's this. The bulk of this flag is think like the flags that they fly at Rohan, right? Like the longer streamers, right? And the bulk of it is this pale green, but there is a white egret kind of soaring along the width of it. It's not uncommon whether it's seagulls in Belfalas or other things. It's not uncommon for certain regions of Gondor to claim a white icon of their own to kind of notate their alignment with the white tree. And um, Brian, Zachariah probably recognizes this. He's probably seen this in a book somewhere.
Magic.
But it's not. It's not. No one. None of you have ever seen this flying before, and you've never, other than Zachariah's book, you've probably never heard of the white egret of Harmenden. At this point,
Oh, what is Zachariah? Samarian will turn to Zachariah. Zachariah, this seems like a very antique flag. Do you have reckoning of it?
Um,
That's an old lord
I
check.
just kind of I just kind of look at and I'm like, yeah, it's their flag, and kind of I can tell you that because it's in a book, but also he just said it's their flag, and they flew it, and we're flying.
I'm asking you to do an old lord check, not to improv your answer based on what he said. Remember, we made a bargain.
Yeah.
I didn't do lore, so you could be the lore master of the party. So this is your old lore rule.
Oh, I mean, I on the flag, it's.
I mean, I'm holding it. I could do a folklore check.
yeah. Oh, you know what? You know what, Zach? That's not bad. This is definitely an opportunity. So what we talked about earlier was that if there's an old lore test related to the Free Peoples, that Zach's ranger has a ability that he can use. But yeah. So what are you curious about here, Garwin?
I would probably. So in my head right now, I'm thinking that I had a conversation with some people earlier at the bar that said they saw friends of mine, other Gondorian rangers,
Mm-hmm.
passing through here,
Mm-hmm.
and I up until now didn't know that this place existed, and so it seems strange that another group of people would be, randomly coming to this place that it's not really on the map, right?
Right.
And so knowing that information and now seeing this flag, wondering if maybe in all my time sitting around the fire with the other rangers, swapping stories, going through the stories from the older rangers to the younger ones, if anybody had ever mentioned this particular sigil before and what it might signify and what it might mean as to where we are, because we know that this is where Sire Grath is, and he's really nice, and the town is very hospitable. But what is this place really? And this might be able to give us some answers to that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's fine with me. So go ahead and give me. You can just roll because this is special for you. Just you do a riddle roll, and then you'll add +2 to the result.
Okay. Hello? Why is it?
Oh, it's rolling with advantage there, so it'd be 8 plus 2 more basically. So 10.
So 10.
Yeah. Um.
Not super great, but
yeah, I think what you would know, or what you would get the sense for, is that like Sire Grath is not wrong. That probably flying a banner in any way tied to Gondor in this town would have probably spelled trouble. And you, even though you've never seen the white egret, the fact that it is in the style that it is, and the type of icon that it is, egret often meaning, right, like good fortune, grace, things like that. Um, the icon has meaning that for anyone who looks upon it. And I think that you kind of looking at it see the wisdom of Sire Grath and kind of thinking back to a time when it wasn't as simple as the great eye, which I don't know that there's actually a great eye at the moment. I gotta think back to my history, but that there, yeah, there is. So that there's the eye, and that there's also the white tree. There was a time in days gone when there were much more icons, and I think as a ranger, and kind of getting the sense, I think that this is a reminder to you that Gondor used to be a different place. And it used to have much more diversity in its people and its lands than what it does now. And carrying this flag is a reminder of a memory more so than a reality of today. Um, and I think that as you see the wisdom in him not flying it, you also maybe see some wisdom in having a flag to fly or to display that communicates something other than just we are the Knights of Gondor in this land, because you are only four, and communicating that you have an ally, a banner here that will give people pause and say, who is this? Who are these people that they're marching for? Under the banner of,
Yeah.
has some value. So that doesn't give you a lot of like deep lore into it, but the reality, just to be fair here, just to be clear, is like there's not a lot of. I mean, like the egret banner of Harmenden is not heavy steeped in lore. It's
Yeah.
just a memory of something that has been lost.
I'm going to fold it back up, and I'm gonna keep it.
Mm-hmm. Now, as you kind of do that, Siregraph gives a nod, like he's done something that he's happy about. And as he nods, he says, "Now, I told you I will write you a letter. You told me you'd write me a letter. I gave you this. There's more that I might give, but first I must know, and perhaps you're not ready, and if that's the case, then this is all fine, and we have time. But if I knew your road, the road that you chose, I understand that you're eyeing the road south and also the river west. But once I know the road, and perhaps even before that, but I'd like to give you some advice, some guidance, do what I can to make sure that you're aware of what you might face on said road."
Sire Grath, we will take the wilderness south, east by south to Abercon.
Mm.
Given what we fought outside these doors with those ruffians, we're not going to risk the road.
Will you travel?
But I will.
Go ahead.
But I will. On my steed, I will hoist your banner so that the old flag of Harmenden flies in the wind across these lands. As an honor, I will pay your hospitality and your wisdom.
Will you travel to the east or to the west of the road?
East.
Unless you think Red West is better. Whichever one you think. Zachariah is still a little bit of a coward. Whichever you think is better.
I politely refer to you as our vacillator.
Yes. Yes. So he
I was actually thinking of that as the term for Henrinden. Yeah, our vassal later.
Oh my gosh!
I've never made a pun on the word vassal before. I'm very proud of that one.
You if you say east, he will kind of nod. He'll say, "There's a couple of men that have
We don't judge.
land that they tend to the east around the river. I think I'll bring them in, have them hold counsel with you, tell you what they may. Um, I think that you're choosing wisely, taking that easterly route. Though I will say there's a patch of timber that comes down from the mountain there that's a bit dark. Um, it's not as open as the land to the west, but that might do you favor because others' eyes won't see you as readily for a portion of your travel.
What do you know about the ruins? I'm very interested in the ruins. Anything old is just up my alley, and I thought since you're closer to them than we are, what is the deal with Carnale?
Oh, he says, there's a lot of ruins here. There's a lot of ruins in general. He says, I don't know much about most of them. Of course, you've been to the watchtower and you've seen what we've done there, and we're quite proud of it. That's the ruin that we claim as our own. Um, he says, I would caution you away from them, though. The ruins that you see, um, he says, you won't find very many men there. Not very many men of my company or yours or others. But you will find a darker sort. There's orcs that frequent ruins and can kind of clamber out of holes that might have been burrowed into the mountains and to the hillsides. And sometimes those holes connect to those ruins. I would be cautious of traveling too or frequenting them too often unless you're in dire straits. And the bigger ruins, I would warn you against altogether, even in dire straits. For those bigger ruins are almost always, if the rumors are to be true, those bigger ruins are almost always housing at this point for larger, darker folk, trolls, like. There's not a lot of once you travel west from here, there's not a lot of hills and valleys and woodland to hide something of that immense size. So they take what they can, and their ruins are frequently what they take. You're probably dealing with a little bit here, Brian, that he, as a human man without the lore books of Gondor, knows a lot about the current state, roughly, but
Yeah,
not older stuff. Right?
exactly. Yeah. So cool. I don't know what I would know. It's a bit off the beaten path. It's not something that I necessarily would have studied. I don't know. Brian doesn't know the name Carnale. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what he would, what Zachariah would know if that's a decent enough sized ruin or what we would get.
But I will accompany you if your curiosity takes us there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I only if it's something interesting. I just wanted to know what it is. I'm just curious.
Ruins that old, that dark, that frequented by things non-human, Zachariah, clearly hold secrets deep and true to a past long gone.
Yeah, that's all nice. I just wanted to know what they are. Abercon it is.
If you want to, well, yeah, you could probably, you don't know if this is exactly this, Brian, but it's on your map, so I'm going to give you a little bit of note here, just because I think the Karna ruins aren't just a spot. If they're on a map of in Gondor, which is what you have here, right? You would know a little tiny bit at least. Karna used to be the capital of uh, 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 of the realm of Harad when it was theoretically under the control of Gondor. Some
Okay.
generations past. Now so the ruins of it kind of imply that the Haradrim have moved their capital to Abrakan, but the ruins of the Gondorian quote unquote capital of this location are still to be found in that forest.
That's what I said to you. That is exactly what I said to you, man. I told you they hold secrets deep and true. Remember the blood that flows within your veins.
Yes, I'm quite glad that it still does, which is why I don't need to go looking for too much trouble.
It may not for long if we go to those ruins.
that was the
No, I
implication.
didn't say anything.
I mean that's Zechariah looks at is like, yeah,
All in favor of
that
going to
was
the
what I meant.
ruins, raise their hands.
You got a long ways to go before you get to these ruins, Ulysses. You got a decision to make at Abercon again.
If the word you're looking for, if
If
you go to those ruins,
that's right.
not when you go to
That's
those
right.
ruins.
This feels like when the Battle of Helm's Deep is just wrapped up, and Gimli's like, "We got to check out these caves," and Legolas like, "No, we don't have time for that," and I'm not interested either. Let's just go. Um, yeah. So I think just to kind of like put us on our journey, because I think that we could linger here, but the reality is that I think you've covered what you needed to cover in Harmondon. So a couple things are going to happen. The first thing that's going to happen is you guys unlock Sire Grath as a patron.
Nice.
So his details are now listed under his journal entry, but basically he likes treasure hunters and messengers. So Mr. Francis, that's why you got the
Flag.
the flag. He doesn't give you any extra fellowship points, but he does give you an additional advantage. It's called the Tradesman's Boon. When you are in a hex that contains a road, you can spend a fellowship point to reduce the DC of a journey roll by 5. If you succeed by 5 or more, you do not have to spend the point. That's kind of the idea of like, that's his flag being put to use. If you're on a road, it can make the risks of being on that road lighter. So you have quote unquote unlocked.
That's
Sacra.
awesome.
The other thing, so I'm gonna kind of like shift us forward a bit in time. You guys spend a couple days resting. You guys can rest fully up, recover your health and all that. This is a safe space for you for right now. If you lingered here over long, it would probably not become a safe space eventually. But right now it is.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pick
Hey,
up. Go ahead.
I was going to say I think it's legitimate for us to want to be eager to move on.
Yeah.
Like maybe 48 hours max, but he said he wanted to give us counsel with the two people who tend farmland, and I presume he means that hex immediately east of Harmondon.
Yeah, pretty much. He's gonna so as you're riding out of town a few days later, you're maybe think back to that meeting, and it wasn't a long meeting. The farmers, the villagers were more excited about having an opportunity with chatting with you than they were capable of giving you useful information, other than some small tidbit of data, maybe two. Um, Andrew, you have a rumors ability when you're in the fellowship
Yeah.
phase.
I do.
Talk to me about what that ability says.
I think we get a free rumor.
Free rumor.
1 second. Let me find it. That's not. I have multiple rumors abilities apparently.
Gather rumors. Here we are. Chooses to undertake to receive a rumor from the lore master. Um, until the next fellowship phase, player heroes in the company have advantage in intelligence checks related to the rumor. Um, the rumor can be a story about an individual, a place, or a coming event, pointing specifically to something that the company can explore, prevent, aspire, or achieve. Um, Otherwise, a rumor could be something specific that the player hero is inquiring about and directly related to the current adventuring circumstances of the company, which is exactly what I think we're going to put this to use for here, which is you're talking with these people, you're going to gather some rumors while you're here about your upcoming destination. Go ahead, um, Andrew, and I'm going to. You do this for free, but I'm going to let you go ahead and make a roll to see the expansiveness of the rumor that you acquire. So let's see here. Um, do you have investigation as a skill?
I do not. I have insight or perception that could perhaps be, or explore.
I'll let you do an explore. Explore with what? Yeah, go ahead and give me an explore chested. You're gonna get a rumor of some sort. So just the higher you roll, the better the reality. Okay, so kind of middle of the road. Cool. Let's see. What can we give you? I know exactly what I could give you here.
One of these days I'll roll above a 10.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It'll happen. Watch.
So one of these people, as you kind of like poke and prod, kind of like push against the things that they're telling you aren't super useful. So you kind of use your ability to pull things from them that maybe they didn't think about, or maybe they thought were not worth mentioning, and kind of bring them to light. What you get from one of them is that um, there is a rumor that to the south, just across the river. So if you were to look at your map, it'd be like one hex to the east and then one hex to the southeast across the
Mhm.
river. That it is said, rumored that in the forest that is there, kind of in one of the valleys around the river, there is still this beautiful, great white tree that can be found. And um, this man will tell you that it is that he has been told, though he has never seen it himself, but he has been told by his uncle that it is a perilous place, an entrancing location where men might lose themselves. But he thought of it because of course the white tree from which you come, and he's happy to recount
And
that.
and it should be noted that Silmarion's shield has that crest upon it,
Absolutely. Yeah,
Gondorian crest.
absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, he kind of would, yeah, probably even point to it, point to the shield or to the armor, or whatever you have stitched of the tree on you, and he'll say like, I mean, it by all accounts, it looks like that. Big tree. That's what I remember my uncle saying. It was kind of took
I
over the
posted it in
valley.
Discord.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the rumor you're going to get, Mr. Andrew. The other thing that they're going to tell you, the advice that you think back on as you're riding out of town here, um, they're going to tell you that there are wargs in this area, and to be extra cautious. If you hear howling of wolves, do not assume that they are wolves, because they're from time to time come down from the mountains, warg raiding parties, and they will caution you against lighting too large of a fire for too long. Um, Anything that could be seen from afar, especially. Um, and I think that's the big things that they're going to note for you is that there's wargs potential. That's the threat, biggest threat, and to keep an eye out for that tree, and it probably best be avoided. So, fellas, we've got about an hour left in our session. Do we want to take about 5 minutes and take a little break and then come back and see how many of these hexes you can get through?
Let's do it.
For
All right.
sure.
Sounds good. We'll see you in a few minutes. right, folks, we're back at it. We are going to set off into the wilderness. Now, got some more intense music going here because I want to convey that like you are now leaving Gondor. Um, Even the idea of Gondor is behind you the moment you cross the river in this second hex. I'm showing the map for people at home. Actually, you know what? I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this map just so they can see it a bit better. But um, you are in a strange land at this point. Um, Something is going to happen in between here and Abrakan. You are going to roll a minimum. You're going to make a minimum of 2 series of journey checks and a maximum of, I believe, of 3, unless you die and then, or get lost or something like that. So,
Not going to happen.
not going to happen. I don't think so. Yeah.
Nope. Well, don't forget, because I am a princess of Bophalis, I have advantage traveling by horseback on travel rolls, which is helpful in moments like this. But just so we're clear, we crossed the river, and the correct pronunciation of that is Harnan, right?
So here, let me move your token here. But you are in Harmenden right now. Yeah, so you'll go 1 hex to the east.
Yep.
And then cross the river and continue on from there.
Yeah, but the river itself, if I look in the mountains here, it's the Harnan River.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That is the southern boundary historically of Gondor.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. So, all right. So, I presume in moving to this hex to the east, we're still in Gondor, and we're in the company of those 2 farmers.
Yeah.
That Sir Graf has introduced us to.
That's right.
Okay.
So, what I'm going to need as we start this part of the journey, I'm going to need you to make your travel check, Ulysses, and then we'll see who gets to roll other things afterwards.
Okay. So, this is going to be... All right. This is with advantage, so this is the first. It's a 16.
Okay.
And then a 22.
Great.
And I imagine, just because that's for the benefit of ourselves and the audience, I imagine that as we're about to cross this river, even if we're not as dramatic as Samwise Gamgee was in the movie, this is probably the furthest any of us have gone from home.
Mm.
And this is a seminal boundary crossing.
It would be unlikely that even a ranger of Gondor has ever set foot outside of the borders of Gondor. And if you have, it's a very rare occurrence. So absolutely, this is new territory. Ulysses, you can move your... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, as we cross this river, I just turn to Zachariah, Crithiel, and Garwin. I say, our fellowship was formed in Minas Tirith by Ecthelion, but our fellowship has been forged by the travels and travails we have endured together. And I'm proud to be of this company. And I can now move us 1 square.
You're going to go ahead and move yourself all the way down to this square, this hex right here. That's where you're going to get with this travel check. So you're 2 squares away from Abrakan, which means guaranteed, even if you fail your next travel check, you will end in Abrakan. So that's valuable for you across that way. Let's see if I want. No, I'm going to hold on to that one. So you're in the scenery that you're seeing here is not what you would have necessarily expected out of Harad. You've heard tale of the deserts of Harad, but the reality is here along the river, this far north in Harad, the deserts haven't fully presented themselves yet, and there is forest, like they said, forest with deep gouges cut into the earth. That the river is just one of the many gouges in this space, and down in these ravines and crevasses, and surrounding them you find all manner of tree, and it's kind of a not a dense forest, but a bigger forest than you would have expected. And at times it reminds you of the forest of Ecthelion to the north, Garwin. Um, it has that sort of atmosphere.
I like that.
Um, so I'm going to cut to the quick here. I'm going to have. I need to know what everybody else's role is going to be. Who is going to be the scout? Who is going to be the lookout? And who is going to be the hunter? Between Zach, Brian, and Andrew.
I feel like there's we just left town, 2 days journey so far. I'm going to try the hunting because we've got enough food that if I fail at it, then, which is exactly what I did on the last journey.
Mm-hmm.
I will feel useful if I come back with something, and I will feel satisfied in my station if I don't.
Okay.
Because this place looks and feels a little familiar, ish, I will do the scouting.
Okay. And that leaves Andrew for the lookout, if that works for you.
Yeah, Carthel will keep watch.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to roll a dice here and see which one of those actually happens. Or we need to call upon. All right, cool. So I'm going to have that be, that's going to be the scout. So, Mr. Francis, I need an explore check. Now, you are not in your homelands. In fact, it is somewhat difficult, the location here. So I'm going to have you give me a wisdom explore check, and it is not going to be an easy check necessarily now that you are out of Gondor proper and you're not on a road. So those are
Okay.
big realities.
I do not have explore on this list.
So
You want me to just do straight wisdom?
Yep, give me a wisdom check then. Yep.
Wisdom check.
Okay.
Oof.
Fantastic.
Not so wise.
Hey, just to confirm, Zach Francis, did you choose your 5 skills as a messenger?
Yes, we have
Your
them all.
Yes.
skills?
I double checked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yep. Okay, so now I am going to have you roll me 2d20s, Mr. Francis.
Okay, 2d20s. Not good.
Okay. Okay. Well, that makes my choices easy because both an 8 and an 11 give you the same situation.
Oh no.
It's also
Golly,
nice
too
because it's
cocky.
middle of the road, which is nice because remember, a journey events table doesn't necessarily it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? But anyhow, we'll see how it goes here. I think we're going to give you an interesting situation and see how you peruse it. So, as the scout, Mr. Francis, you're in the middle of this wood. Is there anything that's on your mind? Anything that you're pondering or hunting for or trying to avoid?
Yeah. Okay. So I would be, as a scout, I'd be looking for probably the easiest route, kind of going forward. Not too far, but just kind of like, hey, this is kind of the way that it looks like, it's not going to be too thick of woods, or there's not a big cliff right next to here or whatever. So I'd be doing that first of all. I'd also be making sure that we're not running into any, packs of wargs.
Yep.
Or whatever else lives out here, just making sure that we're not walking into a den of any kind. And I think those things would be on my mind. And I think the thoughts of what's going to happen when we get to Umbar is also kind of weighing on my mind, because a lot is riding on us getting there and doing what we need to do correctly, in order to allow
Yeah.
the rest of the plan to follow through correctly. So I think there's a heavy weight on my shoulders, kind of going through all of these things and thinking of all these things, but also at the same time, like, very proud
Mm-hmm.
and like,
You got
yes,
a
we
lot
have
on
to
your
do
mind.
this. And yeah, you know, I think there's just a lot of, I mean, it's quiet. It's just me with my thoughts. These are the things that are going through my mind.
Yeah, and I think that 10 is going to be emblematic of the result of, or 8, I should say, um, is going to be emblematic of a couple things. One is that you are not prepared in any way, like the comfortness of this place, the comfortableness of this place, and that it feels there's a level of familiarity here in comparison to Ecthelion. And the amount of things that you have burdened on your mind makes it so that you, acting as a scout, a couple things. It's not that you're performing poorly as a scout, because some of the things, like you mentioned, are about, keeping an eye out for hazards and choosing a route. But you end up moving a bit further than you wanted or intended to from your group. And it is about the time that you think to stop short and to maybe maybe you're starting to consider heading back and finding where they might be. It's about at this time that you come over a rise, and down in this next little ravine, you see this. That is the smallest expanded image ever. But that's what you see.
The white tree.
You see a tree, like, so you've probably been to Minas Tirith at some point, and you probably, though you maybe not have been on the 7th level, you've probably seen, intended, much as like someone who travels to New York might try to spy a glimpse of an iconic landmark there or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
you've caught a glimpse of this smaller, not small, but standard white tree on the 7th level of the tower. Here, this tree is white in the same way, but immense, like filling this little ravine almost. And it is not dead or dying like the tree that you recall glimpsing, but it is in full bloom with leaves that are of, pale color, and blossoms that are yellow and gold, kind of illuminated. It's a beautiful sight. What is your first thoughts when you glimpse this?
Well, my my first thought is just awe, and then my other first thought is I have to go to the tree.
I like that.
I have to go see the tree.
Absolutely.
That was literally my first thought. Was like, I gotta go see this tree.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Zach lore question that Zachariah does not need to roll for is the tree, White Tree of Gondor, alive at this point?
No, it's kind of like dead.
Okay.
Here.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, Zachariah is, as an actual resident of Minas Tirith, is definitely along on this one.
Yeah. Yeah. So Zach, you again, your Garwin's companions are out of earshot at this point. I want to be clear on that, right? Like they're coming along the same path, ish, right? I mean, you're the scout, and you have gone quite a distance ahead of them. So as you move your way down this valley, and into this, and excuse me, you witness this tree. The closer you get to it, the more astounding it becomes. It stands out in this ravine. It is not, you have not seen another tree remotely of the same coloration or beauty in general this in probably all of your time, but certainly not since Ecthelion, and even in Ecthelion, not of this coloration, not of this majesty.
Hmm. Yeah, I want to go. I want to go to it.
You get to the point where you are um, uh, you move down into the ravine, and um, as you get closer, like the tree itself has a girth at its base, to where if you put your hands out to either side, you could maybe with the tips of your fingers kind of grasp around the 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 width of it, though certainly not the full circumference, right? Um, and you can see as you are now down here that what you took for blossoms above, these golden yellow blossoms, are much maybe that you could still call them that, but they are more motes of light, radiant, and they highlight the tree as they are nestled within it. And then you see every once in a while one of them kind of like lazily detach itself, not in an intentional way, but much like a blossom might detach itself from a tree, and it kind of like descends down and gives off a modicum of light before touching the earth, and when it touches the earth, much like a water drop or something, like it just kind of like disappears at that point.
What
Um,
happens if I try to catch one?
um, yeah, give me a nature check as you check this out.
Sure. Oof.
Yeah. So you reach out, and as you allow it to touch your hand, maybe your hand even like flinches a little bit as you brace for the contact. Not sure what this is, um, but nothing untoward happens. Nothing. You look at your skin. You don't feel warmth. You don't. It does. You don't see your skin isn't glowing. Your skin isn't burnt. No effect from that. Yeah, there you go, Brian. Yeah,
Mm.
it's Avatar. You guys have stepped into yeah,
Yeah,
Pandora.
not Lord of the Rings anymore. Now it's Avatar.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Um. Hmm. Do I feel? Do I feel anything different being this close to this thing? Other than just the awe and like reverence that I would probably feel about
Yeah.
it, but is there anything different that I would feel?
Give me a wisdom. I was gonna say wisdom check. Give me a wisdom saving throw, just to see, if you can kind of parse through the awe that you're feeling and kind of deduce anything about what it might all mean. That's a 20. Is that right? That's a 20.
Yeah.
Okay. So you sit here and you ponder, and you wonder what it all might mean, and what this tree could mean. Um, and you sit there longer than you probably intended to, just standing underneath the boughs, and you kind of have your head down, and you are tempted to fall asleep, or at least doze, or rest your eyes, as Bilbo might say, right here, as you sit underneath this tree, this peaceful place of serenity where your concerns for the outside world, the hazards of the wargs, or the road, are seen very distant here. Um, and just as you kind of like your eyes kind of blink once slowly, and then another time slowly, and kind of give one last like solid shake of your head to say like, no, that's not the thing to do even here in this safe space, right? You shake your head, and as you open your eyes back up, the light is gone, and you find that you are in a dark valley, a dark crevasse, and you're still kind of like maybe looking around you, you know, like maybe you're still kind of dozing here. You decide, but like as you kind of like open your eyes and kind of just bring yourself back to the world. It is a world that is strangely dark as compared to what it was just moments earlier.
Do I notice
Figuring
anything?
upside down.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do I notice anything else different around me? Like,
You got one less kidney.
Give
Candy Mountain.
I promise just one last
Um,
check here, but give me a perception check as
Okay.
you look around you. Wow. Okay. Fantastic. Good job.
That's where the good rolls are.
Yeah, yeah. So Zach, as you kind of like shake yourself up, you look around. Two things. One thing is free. You would have gotten this whether or not you succeeded or not. But as you look up, you look and you see where this glamorous, majestic tree was. There's still a tree there, but it has none of the glory necessarily that you recalled, or maybe that glory is just being overshadowed because there is a shadow draped across this tree. And as your ranger awareness kind of like picks up and you kind of rise fully to your feet and draw yourself to full awareness. This is the ability of that wisdom saving throw coming in clutch here, and a great perception check. You see a creature that looks like this. Let's see if I can do this for just you, Zach, because that'll be fun. Let's see if that worked.
Oh my heavens!
And
Oh dear Lord!
it is looking right at you from just two steps away, right?
Yeah. I know what I want to do. For whatever reason, I want to. Well, let me ask you this: does it feel animalistic, or does it feel more purposeful? Does that make sense? Uh, does it seem like it is just an animal brain walking around, or is it a little bit more?
There is an intelligent, a malignant intelligence in
Okay.
this thing's eyes.
Okay, that's what I want to know. I feel that Garwin would not make any sudden movements, not draw his sword. I feel like he would show this thing, at least to start, some respect by not like kneeling or anything like that, but maybe like a slow head bow type thing, to show, and maybe like putting my hands out a little bit just to show that I'm here, peacefully, not looking to disturb, knowing maybe I kind of walked myself, not paying attention, into a den of something that maybe I shouldn't have, but showing that I'm not a threat. That's kind of what I would want to do.
As you kind of make your move to supplicate, this creature kind of lifts its nose towards you, and you see these two nostrils flare as it takes in your scent. And you see its jaw kind of work as it does so. Its eyes squint, and you see as it kind of opens its mouth, these enormous tusks, teeth, coated in viscera from probably a kill some time ago. And you see it kind of work its jaw. You hear a clacking sound as that jaw works up and down. And then it kind of like seems to have gained an understanding of what you might be based off the scent. And you see it kind of like loosen its shoulder muscles and get low as low as it can, and it starts to like a predator, like a cat, kind of like start to size you up as it shifts back and forth, and maybe start to shift a little bit to one side, looking for opportunity.
I will, still kind of doing my thing here, I will slowly reach for my sword, but not in a fast pace. I'm keeping my eyes on this thing.
Oh yeah. As soon as your hand kind of like starts to reach for the sword, you see it freeze for a moment, then like coiling its legs, and then it springs forward. The earth's exploding up around it as it does so. We're gonna roll initiative here, but before we do, Zach, what is your response as this thing springs towards you?
I'm going to whip my sword out, and I'm going to try to dodge out of the way for this initial attack.
Okay. I need everybody to roll initiative here, and we'll deal with that in a minute. But we'll go ahead and get everybody, and I will do the same.
Oh,
you don't have a character sheet so much, so if you'll just put me in there.
Yep.
It says I rolled an 18, but it says you wanted to send the result of this roll to the turn tracker, but no valid token was selected.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. No problem at all. So, what's going to happen here? Let's see if I can tweak this music here while we're.
I didn't mean to get us into an encounter, y'all.
Hey, listen. That's the way it is sometimes. Okay.
You did exactly what you were supposed to do in a Zach world.
That's right. That's right. So, Mr. Francis, you have a bonus to your initiative as well. So you would be at a 20. Because so you should see a little number. I put it in your speed, but I put a number there because it wouldn't let me change your initiative. But Garwin will go first, and then it looks like Brian's low. Andrew, you're next. So Crithael's next. And then this creature. And then Silmarian. And then Zachariah. Okay. Garwin, here's what you know. I'm going to give you a little bit of a note, right? As a ranger, you have never seen this creature before. You have no idea what this is. Because you're a ranger, I will say, though, that you have probably encountered several different types of creatures in the past, right? You've probably encountered orcs and trolls and things of that nature, right?
Yeah.
I will encourage you in this way. You would be surprised if you were a match for this thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I already know I'm not a match for this thing.
Okay. All right.
I'm not trying to fight it by myself. I'm trying to defend myself and get out of there.
Okay. So, Garwin, on your turn, you get to go first. Tell me what you're going to use your actions to do. I'm not going to move you to a map at this point, but I do have a map ready if it comes to that. So.
I'm going to... I'm going to try to get back up out of the ravine to the rest of the group and get high ground.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be my smartest move.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, you take off. just running pell-mell back to the group here. What I'm going to have you do here, because you're kind of like running through the ravine, kind of climbing up the hill, scouring down another hill, before we actually like show a map or do anything like that, we may not do a map at all for this encounter, but like you're trying to, evade this creature. Give me an athletics check, or if you describe it in a great way, you could do an acrobatics check, but you have to describe it cool if you're going to give me acrobatics.
All right. So in my mind, the ravine, there's trees on either side. It's kind of a thing down.
Mm-hmm.
It's large because it's big enough for a tree. But the side that I came up on, I imagine it's kind of like a dirt and some rocks and maybe some roots and some stuff from the trees from up above.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, the way I came down was probably from stepping on roots and rocks down the way, and I would remember where I came down from. And so the acrobatics would be to use, I probably have a knife on me,
Mm-hmm.
to use my knife and to try to climb up and jump on the roots and use the roots to pull me up and use my knife and kind of just get myself up as fast as possible with the least amount of movement. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yep. Give me an acrobatics check. Whoa! Look at that crit. Okay, so
Thank God.
yeah, so you immediately retrace your steps. Again, now maybe the lull of the familiarity was to your detriment before. Now it is to your benefit, and you as if you have been in these woods your entire life. You alight out of this ravine, and you hear the crash as this creature chases you. There is a bellow from behind. It certainly is going to haul itself out of this ravine, pull itself out of this ravine, and continue to chase you. So we're going to make a couple more of those acrobatic checks for you, as you can see if you can make it all the way back to your party. Because you crit, you take no damage, and you get advantage on this next acrobatics check. But be warned, if you fail these acrobatics checks, you will start to take damage from this creature.
That's fine. I'm running as fast as I can back to my group. Probably jumping on roots and logs and rocks and just trying to.
Very cinematic. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh gosh. Okay. Fantastic. So no. So that's 2 7s. Not going to work out. That's wild that you rolled two of the same, 2 crits and then 2 4s. Incredible.
Frickin' hell, man.
So yeah, so you're springing from location to location. You're feeling good about yourself, and the moment that you're feeling good about yourself, you feel a heavy blow from behind, and you pitched forward. You're gonna take some damage here.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Zach, you're gonna take 5 points of damage. And you feel yourself pitched forward, rolling forward. You pick yourself back up, though. The creature is not fully on top of you. You think that maybe you got hit by a tree or some piece of debris that in its wake. But go ahead and give me one more check here to see if you can get to your companions.
All right, to make it cool, I imagine I would get hit and I'd be pushed forward. But to keep that momentum, I would probably fall forward and then try to just like roll again and then come right back up and keep running.
Absolutely.
So if I have to make it cool for.
Yep.
Okay, that's not bad.
13. Okay. So yeah. With the 13, that's just what you needed. You needed 12 or better on these. So with a 13, you are able to keep your footing. You have this creature coming right behind you. Now, the rest of you are picking along this trail. And as you're picking along the trail, you hear this rumble, this crash, this snap. And then through the brush, just moments later, before you can really get a full bearing, you see Garwin burst through the underbrush. Garwin, what do you say in just the 2 seconds that you have here?
Run.
Okay. Garwin shoots past you, and as he does, you all will see this. Tearing in right behind him. Here, let's see if I can, let's go, There you go. That's a little tiny picture for people watching at home.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah, tiny, but there you go. Maybe it's even better if I just don't even have it zoomed in there. But
The shadowed human figure is there for scale.
yeah, yes, that's there for scale. There you go. Hey, how about that? That'll work.
Mm.
Yeah. It looks not dissimilar to a troll, but certainly not a traditional troll by any stretch of the imagination. It does have those great, huge, sweeping horns. It's got claws on its hands. It's got tusks, and it's got way more hair than a troll would. In addition, that long, sweeping tail. So, I don't think that we're going to need a map necessarily for this. I think we can keep it kind of cinematic. And I will tell you guys, bonus points for you guys if we can cinematically in an epic way do this encounter, but it also not take 45 minutes. So I know we're pushing us close on time, but I think it'd be cool to get through this encounter since Zach won't be with us for the next 2 sessions. So we're gonna dive right in here. Garwin, you just blew past them. Crethael, you see this creature coming hot and heavy on his tail. It is gargantuan sized, right? It's huge. It's immense. What would you do?
Are we on horseback?
I would assume that you probably are. Yes. Probably Garwin left his horse with you because he's kind of, going up and down ravines and not really on a trail. But yeah, you could be on horses.
So, given that I am probably the next or the most animal handling person in the group, I would probably grab hold of his horse and I would wheel both mine and his horse around and basically chase after him with his horse, trying to help him get on his horse.
Okay, absolutely. Give me, so you wheel the horses around. Give me an animal handling check as you do so. Let's see if you can really, solidify this here.
Let's see.
If he gets it, I'm pulling a Legolas.
Oh, that's very good. Okay, 20. Yeah, so you swing the horses around and you start, getting them in a fervor to roar back down the trail. As he's spurring these horses, Zach, if you want to use your reaction, Garwin's reaction, you can try to make probably it'd be an athletics or yeah, it has to be athletics. It's not difficult because you got your buddy right there, athletics to get on this horse.
Okay. Well, I have a -1 to athletics, so we're gonna see how this goes. Yeah. Do you want it cinematic or do you want me to just roll it?
You gotta roll. Let's see what happens when you roll it. Yeah.
All right. Let me.
Hey, look there. Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. 18. So Zach, as Garwin sees the horse wheeling around, it's not that you haven't done something like this before. It's that it's not your favorite thing to do, right? So, you know what is being asked of you, and you catch the horse as it's thundering past, and you throw yourself upon it. It's not as graceful as an elf, but it gets the job done, and you don't make a fool of yourself, which would probably also make a meal of yourself. Okay. Crethael, anything that you want to do other than, we're going to say that you spurring these horses around is probably your move action to get the horses. Anything else that Crethael wants to do here?
Can I see this thing?
Oh, yes. Yes. Right behind you. 30 feet away at most.
Could I... I'm trying to think. Could I identify this thing?
Yes. If you so as opposed to like firing away at it, you take the moment that you have here, where you're not required to be in a battle, to pull into the recesses of your mind and see if you can know what this is. It's going to be a pretty difficult check. It would be what skill would you like to use here?
I mean, maybe hunting.
Oh.
I also have. So, it mechanically doesn't necessarily work for this, but thematically, I have a skill called Shadow Lore that I have significant experience studying, tracking, and hunting servants of the shadow.
Okay, and a shadow lore and that's a feature, right? That's like a little.
Yeah.
That's like a one-word aspect.
No, that's a class feature, but this is not one of monstrosities or whatever this is not one of my favorite enemies.
Okay. So I'll tell you what, I'm not opposed to hunting. It's going to be a very difficult check, but I will let you have. I'll reduce the difficulty by 2. I'm not going to tell you what it is because that may terrify you guys, but I'll reduce the difficulty by 2 because you have shadow lore. But a hunting is a distant shot here, but go for it. Holy crap, that's a crit.
That is a crit.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic. Wow. All right. Well,
My uncle told me about this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So this you have 100% never seen this, never expected to see it. It's a fairy tale come to life for you, right? This is a creature that in the tales, in the hunting tales, is called the Devourer in the Dark. This is.
Good.
Yeah. This is for you guys' benefit. You have encountered a nameless thing. So that's a specific type of creature that are custom built for every campaign. You recognize it because of its troll-like, but with great horns. And the rumor that the hunters would talk about with it is that before you see it, you would typically see the bones of its victims scattered throughout or in a great heap. But more than that, the thing that you know with a crit, with a 26, so I will say the DC was 20 and you reduce it down to 18 with your shadow lore. So you've got 6 or 8 above that. So you would know kind of maybe a bit more on this. Maybe if this is a tale that your father told you or something, but he knew a bit more about this than practically anyone other than the elves and other great people of Middle Earth. Maybe this is a favored tale of his, but he spoke of when Beleriand was broken, many creatures fled in ruin, and among them was a thing particularly large and cruel, and this Devourer in the Dark. And since that time, it has continuously. The tale is that it seeks the darkness. It seeks to be in the recesses of the world as far as it can be from the light. It is a creature as old as the earth, one of the first twisted creatures to be spawned into darkness. The wisest people on the earth, only the wisest, only the most renowned know of this creature, and they fear it. Not a Balrog or anything like that. More akin to a troll, but like the same way that Shelob is close to the spiders of Mirkwood, this is close to a regular troll, right?
So, with that, I will call out to the party that we must flee, but this is a creature of the dark. Let us see if it fears the light, and I will draw my Numenor blade, and as a bonus action, I will light its light.
Ooh, okay, very cool. I love that. Cinematic. Fantastic. So, yeah, as you, Zach, never mind. As you do so, let's see, it is going to be, I lost my sheet here. Whoever's turn. I believe.
Oh, it's a Devour in the Dark's turn.
Yeah, absolutely. So
it goes Devour in the Dark, me, and then Zechariah.
Perfect. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Wherever I put that, it's long gone, so that'll work. That works out great. So Ulysses, there it is. Ulysses, as Silmarion sees the horses wheel around here, you maybe grasp their own reins of your horse, but before you can fully turn it around, this creature is upon you. It is going to attack you, tearing in with some claws first. So let's roll some dice here. It has a +9 to this attack roll.
Nice.
That is a 1. So a 10 to hit on the first attack. The claws, but you wheel the horse around and you can feel the wind as these claws like lash out.
You know what? I wheel around and its claw glances off my Numenorian shield.
I like that. Yeah, yeah. Maybe
Just being cinematic here.
And perhaps its aim misguided as it's partially affected, caught off guard by the light pouring from Crithail's blade at the moment. It will, however, take the opportunity to take a snap at you with its great tusk. So this is a tusk attack. This is a D20 plus 9. That is a 17 to hit.
That's my AC.
That's
so
your
it
AC,
actually
exactly.
hits me.
Wow. Okay. I apologize for this.
Don't apologize.
Not really. You're used to it at this point, right? Yeah.
I've learned to embrace adversity in your campaigns.
That's right.
And when I do it with a plum.
So that is 17 points of damage. And I need a strength saving throw, please.
Okay, let me just go. So it takes me down from 36 minus 17 to 19, and my strength saving throw is a 17.
Very good. So that's enough. So it snaps out at you, and as you feel the tusk kind of rake through your armor, you hear the rending of metal, and it almost unhorses you, knocking you prone. But you manage to stay in the saddle for that. That is its turn, and it is now your turn, Ulysses.
Okay. In the pell-mell of that, you the three of you hear me say in a battle cry in Aramaic, which is the tongue of Numenor, and this is my leadership power as an action in combat. The four of you hear my call to action and to bravery, and you gain 8 temporary hit points each.
Nice.
Okay, and so that gives me 8 temporary hit points. All right. But my bonus action, I draw my sword, which is also of Numenorian make, is named Serek, which is the old Sindarin word for blood seeker. And I, as a bonus action, cast Bright Blade. It imbues my blade with bright sunlight, bravery, and for 1 minute, I add my charisma modifier to the attack roll, so that gives me a +9 to hit as well. And every time I hit, the next attack roll from someone else has advantage.
Nice. Fantastic.
All right. So I use an action, I use a bonus action. So, what I'm going to do with my move is, I'm obviously in melee with it, is to round my horse, so that I am in a more advantaged positioning and posture towards it. Absolutely. To strike it.
Perfect. Garwin, back up at the top of the round. I'm sorry, no, Zachariah. Ignore me.
Yeah. All right. Okay, yeah, Zachariah is going to ride fast. This is going to be the main thing. And as a bonus action, I can take the help action. So I would like to help whoever is furthest back, or I presume that's Ulysses, Silmarian, because you're getting attacked. I'd like to give you the help action, which I know is for advantage on attack, but hey, it works. And I'm going to I'm gonna go for a shot in the dark. If I'm out ahead enough, I'm just gonna go ahead and try and intimidate the crap out of that thing. And I am not intimidating, but hey, it's a shot in the dark, and hey, I'm riding anyways. I guess I could dash, but I'm gonna intimidate. That is a +1.
Okay.
Roll 1d20.
plus 1. All right. 12.
Yeah. Yeah, you call out, maybe telling it to be gone, or to keep its distance, and it's possible that it's checked itself a little bit from the light of 2 blades, certainly.
Yeah.
But your call doesn't seem to have any effect on it.
Sounds good.
All right. That is the bottom of the round, so we get back up to the top here. Garwin, you are on your horse. What do you want to do?
I would like to pull my bow, and while it is blinded by 2 blades, I'd like to try to shoot it in its facial area.
Nice.
To see if I can't get it to realize maybe he's bitten off more than he can chew here, and skedaddle. So, and since I am proficient in the bow, I would like to try to do that.
Let's see it.
So for cinematic purposes, I imagine that while I was running, I put my sword away so I could jump onto the horse. And I was able to jump onto my horse, and as I was situated into my horse, that's when I whipped out my bow, and I could turn around and take a shot at it.
Perfect. I love it. Let's do it. 20 hits.
Yes. And then, do I need to do the damage now?
Yeah, you should. You might be able to just. Yeah.
Oh,
Perfect.
that's wrong. That was my sword. I guess
the same
well,
thing
no.
for your. No, it's not the same thing for your bow, because you get a bonus for your sword. There
you go. That's my bow. Okay.
So you let loose an arrow, and it kind of buries itself into the face of this thing for 6 points of damage. That is definitely a nice hit. You didn't. It wasn't a grazing wound, but this creature kind of like it takes it like we might take a hornet sting or something like that, where it definitely affects us, but it's not. It doesn't have to stop us completely, right? It's painful, but it's not life-threatening at the moment, and it's going to keep coming. Zach, do you want to use your move to get further away, or do you want to do something different?
It's not focused on me at the moment, right?
Right.
I probably wouldn't leave my team to fight this thing by itself. I might swing back around, and I'm sure there are some hills and things just from the picture. I'd probably try to get some higher ground, but still stay within the vicinity of what's happening, so I don't leave my team to fend for themselves.
Perfect. So as Garwin kind of like goes out to flank around this creature, Crithale, what do you do?
Crithale, who sees it as her role in this, ostensibly to protect Silmarion, will wheel around the horse and charge the creature. And
goosebumps. I have goosebumps with how you describe that.
Yeah, wheels the horse around, charges the creature. Not only that, as she rides, she will draw her second blade, and she will leap off the course and attempt to basically stab the creature in that fight.
Nice.
There you go.
With both swords stabbing down.
I love it. Let's see it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how that works out in practice.
Ooh, can it be advantage that I have already shot it in the face and it may not be expecting it? Since it's dealing with that?
There's a chance here of something like that happening. We'll see what we'll see what happens here. Andrew, go ahead and give us your rolls. Yeah, that'll hit.
Yes. Okay. That'll hit. And sorry, one second.
Oh, so that's awesome.
So, on the second attack, I get an extra d6 because it's injured. And I will use my weapon craft to essentially my what's going to happen is as I hit it with my glowing Numenera blade, and as I add the second blade, the shine from my one blade goes over to the other and kind of reflects light into the creature. And I'm going to use my weapon craft to use my craft slot to do 2 extra damage, so that'll be 3d6 extra damage, so another 12. So it's a total of 24 damage.
Nice. And is that, I'm sorry, is that all piercing?
No, a bunch of it is radiant. So the first 7 is radiant.
Okay.
And now I need to read how my things work. Hang on.
While you're looking at that, Zach Francis, don't forget that you have sneak attack. So if you have advantage on your roll, or if there's an enemy with...
Well, he actually, because I was in melee with it, he should have rolled a
Yeah.
1d6.
So Zach, you can roll another d6 while Andrew's calculating here.
Another d6. All right, hold on. Because I literally already have my next move already planned out, and it does include stealth. So
Yeah. So 7 is radiant. The other
17.
whatever it is, 17 is
Okay.
piercing.
Yeah. So you do think like you wouldn't know about this because it hasn't happened yet, but Bashinsky, this works very similarly to like the repulsion of the spiders to sting. Like your blade cutting into it with that radiant damage is more effective than the blades of others. So everybody's blades are working. I don't want to misrepresent, but your radiant damage is impactful.
Yeah.
And you saw Zach Francis
I
roll
did
his sneak
indeed.
attack.
I did indeed. Fantastic. Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. So yeah, as Ecthelion is burying these shining blades into this creature, and then the light cutting into it, it's kind of like shrieking, roaring back, these huge muscled arms kind of lashing out, and you're ducking around them. As that's happening, it's the creature's turn. Ecthelion, you're right there, and you are... you're...
I'm on it.
Yeah, it's going to swat at you with those claws. So this is
Yeah,
+9 to hit.
I thought it might.
So that is a 23 to hit.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Okay.
That's the thing that's.
So let's see here. Ooh, that's a good roll. 21 points of damage from this creature as it...
Remember, you have my 8 temp hit points.
Yeah, no, I mean not anymore, but thank you.
So it's going to, as it hits you with its claws, and it buries those claws in, it's going to grapple you. So you are now grappled by this creature.
Great.
It is going to now try to bite you with those tusks tear into that Rancor-wise with Luke Skywalker, right? He grabs him, and then he's going to bring him to the mouth and try to take a bite. So let's see what happens there. That is 26 to hit. So...
no, I'm gonna cast shield.
Ooh.
No, I'm not.
Sorry,
wrong
Counterspell.
PvP.
Yes, exactly. All right, well, here's some damage for you. 22. Gosh dang it, 2 good rolls of damage. 22 points of damage. This thing
14.
tears.
So, thanks to Salmarion's rally, I am still alive.
Absolutely.
And up.
You are still grappled though by it in its claws. It's going to. Having done both of its multi attacks. It's kind of wheel around, kind of like getting a sense for everyone. Seeing Garwin way off in the distance, not super far, but up on the hill. Ulysses right there in front of it, and then of course Zachariah a little ways off as well, and kind of gauging where he's at. But he's got the entity with both the shining blades in a pinch now. So that's going to be its turn. That's going to go to Silmarion.
As a bonus action, Silmarion is going to shout an ancestral battle cry, something along Elohim Hamai, and you remember that we belong to the bloodline of kings, and our noble bearing is the source of strength. So this is royalty remembered. All 4 of you have advantage on your... Until the end of my next turn, each of you has advantage on your attack rolls and charisma intimidation checks. Zachariah, please note you have advantage on intimidation checks. You're immune to being frightened, And more important for you, Crithial, is that you get you gain temporary hit points of 4 temp hit points.
I accept.
I mean, all of you get an additional 4. I think they stack. So everyone gets 4 more.
Nice. Okay.
Okay, and then with that, so that was my bonus action. And with my action, I take my bright blade of Numenorian Radiance and I thrust it into the beast. Let's see how this rolls. I have advantage from Ryan's help action, so Zachariah's help action. So the first roll is going to be a 27.
Wow.
So I presume
Yep.
I'll just roll for a crit. Okay, so 27, and then the damage on that is going to be 1d8 plus.
Nice.
13 points of damage, and that's radiant.
13's radiant. Okay, very good. Yeah, your blade equally. It's very fortunate for you guys that you. So I'll say it now so that you guys kind of have an awareness since you kind of committed at this point. But it's vulnerable to radiant damage. That's like the one thing that. So the fact that you have these blades is super useful here. But yeah.
I mean, this is pretty cool. I mean, this is Gondor at its best, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you walk out of here. And if someone has pen and ink, you could probably, this would probably be a tale to tell. All right, so Marian has buried blade into it and drawn black ichor. Zachariah, what are you up to?
Well, I have pen and ink. So let's see. Let's see. So Andrew, is Crithial on the horse still, or pulled off of the horse and blade? Pulled off the horse. Okay, got it. Oh crap! So we can't just be like, hey, keep riding, everybody.
I mean, you can, but it'll just be the 3 of you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it would just be two of them.
I don't think my character and Zach's character are gonna survive that long without you guys. So yeah, I suppose we should stick around. I will. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and. Oh, it's almost worth it. I've never done this before. I am going to do a bonus help action for Crithial, and I'm gonna do an actual action help action for Somarian.
Don't we already have advantage from Somarian?
We all have advantage until the end of my next turn, so you may want to save
we all have advantage from the thing? Oh, never mind that.
You have advantage on an intimidation check if you want to try it again.
That's right. Okay.
I think you should role
I'm not
play it.
Actually that intimidating.
Maybe if you role play with
I'm
the
gonna
plum,
just, I guess
Zach
I'll
will
just
give you more.
Yeah. I will shoot him for my action because, yeah. 1d20 plus 3. Alrighty, 19. I hit him.
Yep.
Yay! I presume I hit him.
Oh yeah.
1d6 plus 1. Don't make any assumptions, but there's my damage is 4. No bonus, I don't think. And then I could do a.
You have your words of whatever if you want to use those.
Yeah, I don't know my way around that part of the craft.
It's your bardic
inspiration. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I remembered I had it, but I don't. Yeah. So yeah, I'll just give bardic inspiration to Andrew.
Give it to Crithial.
It's a
because you can use it on a save.
It's a rhymes of lore. So in the heat of this hour, when all other light goes dim, Crithial can recount deeds and valor of time in yesteryear, and find courage or resolve there. Brian, that is a bonus action, and then you shot. So unless you want to move, which I think you're probably in a good spot, unless you really want to move, you can get out of
I mean, I'm gonna stay back from the fighting. Yeah, if somebody's gonna be in the jaws, I'd rather it not be me.
Perfect. Garwin, it's your turn.
Okay, so kind of like what I said in the last round, I kind of swung back around to try to flank this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to use my ranger stealth to. I'm assuming there are some pretty thick trees around here too. I kind of want to almost jump off my horse while I'm behind a tree and let my horse kind of continue running a little bit. And then I'm going to sneak around behind it while it's attacking Sumerian and Andrew's character, which I just forgot the name of. But while they're fighting it with their light and blinding it and really doing some damage, I'd like to come around and I'm going to draw my sword and try to slice its Achilles heel.
Nice. Yeah, go ahead and give me an attack roll here, Mr. Francis.
Okay. Attack.
You have advantage.
Yes, you do have advantage.
Okay, and I'll just use my sword here.
Nice.
I don't know if I'll need the advantage.
That's a success. Yeah, you go ahead and roll it again.
Yes, yes.
You rolled it both there. It rolled 24 and a 13, so 24 definitely hit. So you can deal some damage there,
Let's do it.
and you'll get an extra d6.
An extra D6.
Whoa! Nice. 15. Fantastic. 92. Awesome. You guys have done 92 damage so far to this thing. So no worries whatsoever. This is
Not bad for level 4s.
That's right. It's gonna be easy peasy.
I bet.
And actually, hold on a second.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm only holding my sword right now, and dueling is what I took. And when you're wielding a melee weapon in one hand with no other weapons, I also gain a +2 bonus to my damage rolls with that weapon.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Awesome. Yep. No, that's already factored into that. I baked
Oh,
it
is it?
into your roll.
Okay.
Yep, I baked it in. You're
Cool.
good. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, you sneak around this creature, bury your blade into its tendon there. And it
Hopefully that would allow him to drop Andrew.
Yeah, we'll find out on its turn. Crithael, you get to go next, but in the moment of it, it doesn't quite release, but it definitely is in pain from that. So we'll
Good.
see. Crithael, you're up.
That's fine. It's holding me. That means it's within easy reach. I just first attack is going to be with the blade.
Yes.
So that's going to be
Success.
yes. 6. So there's an extra 1d6 on that because it's injured. So that is 12 radiant,
Nice.
and then the next attack is going to be non-radiant.
Whoa!
And that's going to be crit.
A 30. That's crazy. Because you get a
Sorry, there is no.
+4 there or whatever. Whatever that is.
Yeah, so it's 1d6 plus 4.
It's a crit. Yeah. Tell me how much for a crit.
You know what? I'm just gonna re-roll the damage.
Okay.
Just... It's gonna be 9 damage, and this is just regular.
Okay. Nice. This is a massive blow to it. And as you slice out, cutting in, there's blades puncturing this thing all over. It's massive, but you've got the right tools for this job. And the black ichor of its blood is flowing all over. You are feeling like this thing is something that if you could manage to bring it down, in the next, if you could deal enough damage in the next round, you could maybe bring this beast down in a hurry. Like maybe it did bite off more than it could chew, and you're just the team for this job. So you're right there. Okay, anything else, Crithael, that you want to do?
No, and just visually, the way it looks is it's got its giant hand around me, and I have my swords into it, and I'm trying to spread it apart.
Oh.
Absolutely. So what it's going to do on its turn, it's going to immediately, for its first action, it's going to hurl you, Crithale, fling you away, and try to slam you into Garwin. So I need, Garwin, I need you and Crithale to both make dexterity saving throws, DC 15.
All right. Do we have any advantage in this, or was that only attacks from?
Ulysses.
I'm going to double check. Give me one moment. It's only advantage rolls. It's only attack rolls, but you do have Bardic Inspiration if you need it.
Which I will. What did I roll here?
11.
You rolled on 11.
No, I rolled a 5 plus 2 because there was a d6 already baked in there. So I will fail this.
Okay. So Zach, you're going to take half damage from this, and
Okay.
Andrew, you're going to take full here.
Sure.
It's not as bad as the others. Quite as bad as the others, though. Oh, and pretty sucky when it rolls 2 1s. So Zach, you're going to take 4 points of damage, and Andrew, you're going to take 7.
7. Excellent. Which leaves me with 2 hit points.
Nice. And then it's going to spend. Go ahead.
You had your 4 additional temp, right?
Yes. Otherwise, I would be down.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Ulysses.
That's twice.
It's going to spend its next multi-attack to try to tusk you. So it
Yep.
hurls those, and then it's going to bite down at the only creature that's still right. Technically, you're still right next to it, Garwin, but for flavor's sake.
Yeah.
That is going to be 19, Ulysses.
It hits.
Okay. Oh gosh. Okay. So this again, these tusks have your number, but this time not for it. Its jaw, its enthusiasm has lessened. At this point, 10 points of damage, Ulysses.
Yep. So I'm down to 19 hit points and 2 temp.
Okay.
So.
At this point, it's going to, kind of look around, and it wheels around and sees Garwin still standing there. You didn't fall kind of behind it. So between you and Ulysses, he's kind of got it pinned a little bit here. That is all of its turn. Now, it is through its turn.
Solmarians.
You're up. Yeah.
And so, look, I just witnessed it toss Crithale and into Garwin, and it just tusked me again. It doesn't matter how injured this beast is. If it breathes one breath, it's a danger. And so I'm going to raise the Numenorian sword, say for Gondor, for the glory of the West, and I'm going to strike down with advantage. So that's a 24, and let me just re-roll the crit possibly. Okay, so that was a double 24, and that is 6 radiant damage.
Oh, radiant. Okay. We're right on the edge here. Brian, as you see Silmarian kind of plunge his sword into this thing's chest, and the light kind of coursing through it, the creature lets out this bellow, kind of raising its head to the heavens here, and just desperate. What do you want to do on your turn?
I'm seeing that Crithale is hurting fairly bad.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
She's a bloodied pulp.
Yeah,
I'm twice as bad as the worst as I can be.
I'm gonna charge my horse into the thing, because I'm trying to think of whether I want to. Here's my thought. Yeah, I'm gonna charge my horse into it, and rather than trying to actually pull out my sword and stab it, because I'm really not trained in that very well. I feel like if I can just deck the thing and knock it over, try and catch it off guard with my horse, then I can do a shove action using my horse.
Yes, I think that's interesting. Fast answer, yes. So let's go to. Let me pull up a warhorse. Here we go.
Yeah, we can roll with its strength instead of mine if you don't mind.
Exactly. Yeah, that'd be great. So I need you to make me a D20 roll +4.
Okay, sounds good. That's a 16.
16. Okay. Let's have this thing make a roll here as a check against it. It doesn't have skill, so you do have a chance here. So this is a D20 +5. So we'll see. So +5 is 19, so not quite. So you actually were really close, and you slam the horse, and it kind of like stumbles back a little bit, almost loses its balance, but it's gonna recover. That was a good call. Very good.
Oh, that was the before +5. Okay, I'm
Before
like,
plus
what?
5,
He got
yeah.
a 16 and I got a 14 plus
Yeah.
5. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's that. I'm gonna go ahead and give the help action. I should have given the help action to my horse. I'm gonna give the help action to to Crithale, I think.
okay. So that sounds great. So you at least, and you're adding yourself to the mix here, which maybe not to your health benefit, but to the party's chances.
That's the goal. Yeah.
Okay, so Zachariah's done. Garwin, what do you want to do?
Yeah. I am going to take a quick look around. I'm going to see Zachariah run him and his horse into this thing, and it kind of stumble back. See more blood just pouring out of this thing. I'm going to look to my left. I'm going to see Crithale. Crithale.
It rhymes with
Very hurt.
Crithale.
And Samariel is, oh my god.
Silmarian.
Samarian, oh my god.
Sounds like Silmarillion.
And I'm gonna see them with their blades that are still lit, and they're hurt, and I'm going to see all this, and I'm just going to kind of yell again, like what was said before, like for Gondor, and I'm going to just two-hand this thing, and I'm just gonna run over since I was behind it, and I'm just gonna stab it in the back.
Nice. Let's see it.
And it says here, hold on, I just had it, that two weapon fighting. Oh no, we already said that. I had that. Sorry. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
You're good.
Sword. Ooh. Wait, I have advantage still though, right?
It doesn't matter even on this. The 13 doesn't count either. So you rolled a 6, or if you had advantage, it'd be a 6 and a 13. So you try, you rush forward.
You know, we forgot this. We forgot this, and I'm going to leave it to you on how to add this back into the mix. But because I successfully hit it with my attack, that meant that the next attack on it was with advantage. So Brian's horse should have rolled with advantage. We forgot about that. So I don't know if you want to give Zach Francis advantage.
Here, give my horse advantage, and if my horse does it, knocks it prone, then Zach will get advantage too.
Let's see.
Or if you want to, you can give advantage to Andrew, or you can give advantage to. I mean, there's just advantage floating out there. If you want to just make it so you don't retcon, I think Crithale.
I just stole the advantage to roll for my horse, and I rolled a 2. So.
Okay. It's unfortunate, but here at the last moment, last hour, can't quite pull it out. Zach, you kind of rush forward, and it now a little bit on the defensive. Focus more on protecting itself than dealing damage. It swats your blade away with its claws, not really out of your hand, but just to where you don't hit it. Okay, that's Mr. Francis. We are at Crithale. Your turn.
Crithale, who got knocked way across, into somebody, and is down on her last breath, kind of stabs her non-lit blade into the ground and kind of uses it as a crutch to get herself barely up to her feet, and basically leaves it in the ground, marches forward with only her one lit sword, and kind of begins gaining momentum and starts running at this thing, and she's drenched in mud and blood and the whole thing, and she's gonna try to like slide under it and just cut its neck from below.
Nice. I love it. Let's see it.
One attack. And that's a 16, and I will use my Bardic to add a d6 to that. So that'll be 22 to hit.
22 hits.
And it's injured, so it'll be... roll.
So let me...
So 10 points of radiant.
So check this out. So it has this ability, which should have kept it alive very, very long. It has an ability called Hideous Toughness. If it takes 14 damage or less from an attack that would drop it to 0 hit points, it goes to 1 hit point instead. However, because you have Radiant Blades, that 10 points of damage is increased to 20. And its 3 hit points that it has less are evaporated as Crithael cuts it open. And it collapses down in front of you into a heap. Congratulations, fellas. You survived.
I'm taking one of its tusks.
I'm gonna go find that tree.
Yes. All right. With that, let's do a thing here.
So Marion hops down from Thunder and puts her hand down, kind of a forearm grasp on Crithael to raise you to your feet.
Crithael clasps her arm, nods, and cinematically passes out.
That's fantastic. So, we don't have a lot of time. We're over time, in fact. But I want to leave us in a good spot here, which is right here. Mr. Francis, though, you're gonna be gone on your own Middle Earth journey for the next few weeks. So, to kind of give us a fun conclusion to this, I heard Brian. I heard you say that you want to go check out that tree, right?
Yeah. I know it's not real or whatever, but Zechariah just wants to know why it's not. Why it's not there. What the deal is. He's just curious, even though he knows it's not real. Now he wants to know why.
Yeah. So let me move you guys. Not that you actually. Well, here, I'll just move you. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So if you guys would have fought it here, you could have been on this map, but it's fine. You didn't need a map. So what you'll see here, Brian, and the rest of the crew is when you kind of recover yourself a little bit, and Garwin kind of tells you the events. And as you make your way down to that ravine, you can see that it is a white tree, or at least it looked to be that way. But as you get closer, you can see that it is covered. The bark of this tree was long stripped off, and instead it has been covered and in bound lengths of bone. So there's just a standard tree, or a nice big tree, but a standard tree underneath, but it's completely coated in bone. And there is
creepy.
There is a dark magic about this place, sorcery, and that I think is where we're going to give you an opportunity. Not even an opportunity. If you will permit me, fellows, I am going to bend the rules of this game.
Oh man.
No.
To your benefit.
Permitted.
To your benefit.
I don't know.
You have me as giving you permission.
So here's what I'm going to say. I think that when you fight an unnamed creature in this game, you should be rewarded for defeating it. If you would have ran, that's the reward in and of itself. Guaranteed survival, potentially, right? But because you stood and fought it and laid it low, there are rewards for the valorous. Each of you can choose a type of weapon from the reward section. So that can be a fell weapon, a grievous weapon, or a keen weapon. And basically, this is akin to a troll. So you are finding a troll horde. You can pull a weapon from this place, much like the dwarves and Hobbit did. But you could pull a weapon from this place. If you tell me now what type of weapon you want to pull, I will roll to see what type of effect it has on you. This is a bonus. This is a reward that is aside from anything that you would typically get in leveling up your character. So Zach, let's start with you as the hunter of this creature here. I'm allowing you to pick the weapon just because I don't like. We're not playing a super long campaign, and it's not worth being random. But
I think I would want a. Either a warhammer or a sword.
Warhammer or a sword.
I always thought warhammers looked cool, but that's just.
You pull a warhammer. Let's see here, and then let's see here. I'm gonna roll to see if it's a fell, a grievous, or a keen warhammer.
It's gonna be a sexy warhammer is what it's gonna be.
It's a fell warhammer. So when you score a critical hit with this weapon, you can roll 2 additional weapon damage dice and add them to your damage. It is up to you to determine how you will name this thing, or if you will name it in the moment. But a beautifully crafted warhammer, probably just because of the location of this, just across the river, probably of an older Gondorian make. But you can kind of determine the details how you want to describe it for the next time you have to draw a warhammer into play. Okay. Let's see. Who laid the beast low? Let's do Crithale next. Crithale, what sort of weapon would you find meaningful?
Short sword.
Short sword. Okay. So you can also get any of the 3 possibilities here. Let's roll and see. That's going to be a grievous short sword. You get a +1 bonus to damage rolls with this weapon.
Okay. Could I, given that it is bone themed, can I take one of its sharp bones? Because short swords are piercing weapons to use as a this weapon.
Absolutely. However you want to flavor it is fantastic. Awesome. I think we'll save Zachariah for last, much as Bilbo was saved for last in this opportunity. But Ulysses, Silmarian, what would she find meaningful?
So I feel that for a human, so let me ask you a question. For a human, I think, like in Lord of the Rings, a great spear is an appropriate weapon. Although I will say I'm tempted by having a mattock or a great axe. I could see a great axe of dwarven make. I could see a mattock I've never seen ever used. But I'll leave it to your discretion as lore master to choose one of those 3 for me.
I agree with the great spear. I think it's iconic. Let's do that. So great spear here. We're gonna roll to see what type of spear feature it has. Okay. You are also going to you're gonna get a keen, actually, a keen great spear, which sharp or better balance this weapon now is more likely to produce a critical hit when hitting a target. Attacks using this weapon score a critical hit on a 19 and a 20.
Excellent. And can it be elven?
It is up to you to describe it, however you would like. And now, Zachariah, here at the end, once the warriors have gone through and picked what they will, what do you expect? I'll give you a little bit more leeway if you want it, but what do you expect Zachariah to hope to find here? What would you imagine he finds?
He's just hoping for he only knows a staff, and truth be told, he only really wants to carry a staff because carrying around a sword that he doesn't use well, it doesn't do him any good. So it's nice to have a good walking stick, and his is just something that he got, from a tree a couple of years ago, and it's getting worn out at the bottom anyways. So he's really hoping that there's a staff in there from some poor soul.
Yeah.
So yeah, if he can find another staff, that would be great.
Roll some stuff here.
If not, then
Yeah.
he does carry a bow. A nice bow would be cool, but the staff is really what he's most interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
So here's what I'm gonna say. I like that. So what you find in here is perhaps not as glorious as their stuff, but Ulysses pulled this spear, this great spear from there, and you grab hold of something, and initially you think it might be a spear. You pull it out of the base of this tree where it's stashing its hoard. As you pull it out, your evaluation of it at first is that it was probably a spear of some sort, but it has been the point of it has been lost at some point. So it is a headless spear. But because I think that its value because of who you are, and I think that in these moments, like, it's typically meaningful. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna give you the reinforced feature for it, like it's gonna be a capped staff, right? So that's gonna give you reinforced, which is kind of typically goes to shields and things like that. It's gonna give you a +1 bonus to your AC while you're using the staff.
Nice.
I don't see the point.
You wouldn't. It's I'm being blunt here. Okay, so you're gonna have a reinforced staff, which is kind of a special feature. So you've slain the Devourer in the Dark. You have claimed the Troll Horde, and
Heck yeah.
you feel good about yourselves. We will pick up this adventure probably in a couple weeks, and see if you can't get all the way to Abrakan. Any questions or notes for you fellas?
What is the pathway to healing? Because some of us
I've got some craft there, but
yeah, you're gonna have to talk to you're gonna have to hit up Zachariah for that, because
I will read up on it.
Boy howdy, is there no real great way of healing in the wilderness, or in any place that's not safe. So
there's short rest. If you take a short rest, and then after you take a short rest, then I can use my choose any number of friendly allies who spent 1 or more hit dice at the end of the short rest, up to 2 times my proficiency bonus. Each of those creatures regains an extra 1d6 hit points for each hit dice spent. So I don't think that's just when we're taking it. It seems like last stop you guys took a hit die. So now that we're in battle, I can heal you another 1d6? Or is that just kind of like a Song of Rest where I give you more?
Yeah.
When we're taking a short rest.
It's like when you take a short rest. Yeah. A short rest is an 8-hour long rest. You can't take a long rest until you are in a safe refuge or safe.
We're done with long rests.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going.
So you're gonna burn hit dice after each rest to get yourself some hit points back, and you're gonna count on Brian and maybe some other things to get you the rest of the way. So
yeah, I've got some other craft stuff that I just haven't looked into. It's been a process learning this system and adding it all into the character sheet, but I got most of it now. I do have one question, Zach, or anybody else. I was looking at my proficiencies wall while we were playing, and it says I am proficient in light and medium armor. What would be a good medium armor to boost my armor class from off of this 13 that I've got right now? Soon before 14.
Yep.
But what should I put as my AC and armor?
Whatever you can carry, because you can. For example, my character can barely carry the armor she has, because with low strength you have almost no carrying capacity.
Probably a leather shirt honestly, Brian, unless you, because I know your
Okay.
strength is pretty low, right?
Yeah, I've got 0 strength.
So you're gonna, so leather shirt would be AC of 11 plus your Dex mod.
Okay, leather shirt. So 11 plus dex is better than 10 plus dex. So
And
so that brings me up to a whopping 15 with my
Nice.
thing, with my awesome staff.
Absolutely.
So,
You know what? I'll
DC
just be clear. I have ring mail and a shield, and it only gives me 17. So
It's
you don't. There's no high AC in this game.
yeah, sounds good.
all right, fellows. Anything else before we close out the stream here?
I just want to say that we did a great job with
Yeah, that was
a
good.
nameless
Yeah.
with a nameless thing. I mean, that was it was a very tough battle
Right.
and cinematic.
Right tools for the job, right people. Like it could have been so much
Yeah.
worse. So to be clear, I made 2 nameless things before the campaign even started. Before I knew anything about your characters, and I had them in specific areas of the map, and all their features and everything were ready to go pre you guys building. So you made good choices that worked out for this particular creature, because it could have been real rough. But yeah, good job.
I was committed to running. I was like, let's get the horses and let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was definitely committed to running.
Yeah, it's
I never had a choice.
Yeah. I do like having the help action as a bonus action. That is like I suck at everything, but I can come up with a creative way to help you guys each time. So that giving everybody advantage, giving a person advantage every time is actually really kind of cool.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that would be one of those things if somebody in regular D&D said, "Oh yeah, you got to scrummy attack. Yeah, your class isn't that good at combat, but by the way, you got a free help action as a bonus action." Yeah, all the time. Yes. So
Yeah.
then
Well-
people saying it was overpowered. But
Well,
Well,
no,
thank
it's overpowered. It's like you were D&D.
well, hey,